There's between $2 and $3 trillion sitting overseas in corporate profits. What we're attempting to do is convince the corporations to bring that capital back into the States. And a way to do that is to give them some tax incentive to be able to accomplish this. There's a great need for infrastructure rebuilding in the United States. Roads, bridges, schools all need to be upgraded. And everybody asks, where is the money going to come from? There's approximately $2 trillion sitting offshore in U.S. corporate accounts that will not be coming back to the United States unless some arrangement is made between the tax authorities and the corporations. By bringing some portion of this $2 trillion back into the country, we will be able to accomplish this infrastructure building, which will in turn not only create jobs, but make the bridges safer, the highways easier to traverse, and those that are working on the jobs will be paying taxes, building treasuries of the state and the federal government. And this is going to jumpstart the economy in this country. And it'll be good jobs. It'll be electricians, construction workers, and it'll be jobs that can't be outsourced overseas. In 2005, there was something called the Jobs Creation Act. The reason I know this is my company was part of it, where we repatriated over $300 million that was sitting in our offshore company. We paid a very small tax, about 5.25%, and we were able to bring that money back into America. And we created jobs by building a chassis factory. In doing so, created the largest chassis leasing company in the United States. It was good for everybody. There were more jobs. There was a very good outcome for the shareholders. The reason other people did not benefit from this Jobs Creation Act was when the corporations brought the money back in, they did not put the money back into the infrastructure. They didn't put the money into creating jobs. They declared dividends, big bonuses. They bought back stock. They did all the wrong things that you would do by repatriating funds. It's not the fault of the companies. It's the fault of the people who were supposed to oversee this project. I believe if you look at the chart, at the very top, there's $100 million in revenue in this example. 70 million of it goes to the corporation. It's unencumbered, no tax. The corporation is free to do anything they want to with the 70 million. The other 25% is used to buy municipal bonds, perhaps Build America bonds, some structure like that where the funds go to the various municipalities in the states. The governors of those states have the discretion to spend that money on the infrastructure. The last 5% gets paid as taxes to the federal government. And that's essentially what this chart shows. So in effect, it would be a 5% tax to the corporation, 25% in bonds that would go towards building the infrastructure, and 70% that they would keep themselves. And the corporations could keep these bonds on their balance sheet. I think this is something that would make everybody happy. The art is in the oversight. That's the most important part, to be sure that the money that comes in eventually goes into the infrastructure. Money doesn't stay unemployed for very long periods of time. It will eventually find its way into building factories and creating jobs in the countries that the money is currently residing. And once that money is spent overseas, it will be impossible to bring it back to the States. It's very important for this country to repatriate those funds, all that money that's sitting offshore. So it's going to be a good thing for them, good thing for their shareholders, and a good thing for their workers. It's all there. The information is there. It's just a matter of will. It's a matter of people willing to say, let's do it.
We are pleased to be joined by our good friend, Dr. Reggie Caudell, who is the Dean of the Martin Tuchman School of Management. And on March the 3rd, 2016, that was when, in fact, the Martin Tuchman School was named, right?
Right.
Tell everyone who Martin Tuchman is and why it matters.
Martin Tuchman is one of our graduates. In 1961, he graduated in mechanical engineering. But he went on, he's an innovator, he's an entrepreneur, and he just revolutionized the container freight industry. So he's a really business focused. So he's technology oriented, but business focused, and just a tremendous asset.
My name is Martin Tuchman. I got started in the world of business through the field of engineering. I graduated from New Jersey Institute of Technology. I was given several jobs when I got out of school. One such project was the design of an intermodal container that I did with a group of engineers. This became an international standard, and that standard is still in effect today. And I must say that's over 40 years ago. And the name of that company was Interpool International Container Leasing Company.
The company is the world's biggest lessor of containers worldwide. And joining us now with insight on this industry is Martin Tuchman. He is the CEO of Interpool. He rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange this morning.
Interpool Chairman and CEO Martin Tuchman is doing the honors. Ringing the bell, the company is celebrating its transfer to the big board.
I decided to look into the business of banking because I had always relied on banks to help fund my company, and I always admired the discipline and their infrastructure and their rule-making body to come up with a system that works where the government guarantees the deposits and then you take the deposits and you lend it out to the community. So I joined a bank called Yardville National Bank. We worked together for about 8 years. I was on the board, I was on the investment committee. Another little bank was starting up, and that was at around $25 million in assets. And I joined that bank, first as vice chairman and eventually as chairman. And we built that bank up very nicely to over $1 billion, $1.1 billion. So some of the things that we do here that are non-business, we have an operation called Trenton Area Soup Kitchen. We feed about 180,000 people a year.
Soup Kitchen is mainly for those who needs a meal, homeless, workers.
Some of these people probably wouldn't eat if this place wasn't here. I don't know what they'd do.
And they are seated at a table, and the food is actually brought to them by a series of volunteers.
It's a good meal, very good. It always is.
It's more like going to a restaurant. Tremendous difference between the traditional soup kitchen line and what we have now. So the elementary school, that was a school that was closed for over 15 years, and they were getting ready to demolish it. It looked worse and worse. It was an eyesore. So we went to them, we said, look, rather than knocking this school down, why don't you just give it to us and we'll fix it up and we'll find a charter school. We completely renovated it. We have a gym there, we have a full kitchen, we have auditorium, little lab so the kids can become chemists. So it worked out very nicely. The Parkinson's Alliance runs a walk once a year in Central Park, and we raise somewhere around 1.8 million. And this walk is for the purpose of raising awareness of the 10,000 people that show up. Most of them either have Parkinson's or have families that have Parkinson's. We've gotten NIH, National Institute of Health, to join us as well and put up a substantial amount of money. So we're funding stage 3 clinical trials with the major drug companies.
Marty Tuchman has been the quintessential alumnus of NJIT. And when you look at his life's work and you recognize what we do here, the integration of management and technology, the idea of naming this school after Marty Tuchman was a logical next engagement.
I've been asked, can you actually make money in the business world and make a positive impact on the world? I think the answer is you just work towards creating as much jobs and as much good economic benefit for the community, society, and then they, in turn, have to pass it forward, have to pass it on. It's out of your hands. All you can do is create the wealth, and then those that you created for do whatever the right thing is.